The black-robed man scoffed, his tone sharp as a drawn sword. Those who waver between allegiances are ever fickle. The reincarnation region has been stoking the flames of chaos for 1,000 years. This is no surprise. But mark my words, should this negotiation fail, the foundation of our collaboration will still stand firm, he declared, his eyes glinting with cold fire. The white-robed elder, calm yet calculating, responded, "True, but why not unveil our hidden strengths to secure a decisive victory? Such an approach would exert pressure on the reincarnation region, eroding their power bit by bit." A sneer twisted the black-robed man's lips. "So you wish to sow discord within our gray realm, weakening us from within to ease the destruction of the reincarnation region? Feng Qingshui, you are more brazen than I thought." "Do not think me a fool," he retorted, his voice dripping with disdain. Feng Qingshui's veins throbbed with barely suppressed anger, his ancient eyes narrowing. He was no stranger to being challenged, but this man's words stung nonetheless. He could feel the ancient power within him flare briefly before it cooled again. "Yin Chengquan, you need not worry about us. We, the Heavenly Court, shall hold our end of the bargain. However, you must ensure that this territory under your control does not falter." "Do not worry," Yin Chengquan replied, his voice like iron. "Even if your plans falter, I have my own measures in place. You will see." "Very well. Let us ensure our collaboration is fruitful and without betrayal," Feng Qingshui concluded, his tone carrying the weight of millennia of wisdom. "Let me make one thing clear," Yin Chengquan warned, his voice low and menacing. "Any deviation from our agreement will bring consequences." Feng Qingshui gave a cold snort. The matter closed. The Tarman area, bustling with merchants and cultivators, was a labyrinth of energy and enterprise. As Han Li's trio walked through the crowded streets of Asura City, they were among countless other beings from various tribes. In this area, the inverted street was the most famous, renowned for its strange, otherworldly design. The marketplace buzzed with life as countless beings attempted to hawk their wares. A short figure from the gray realm, dark green skin adorned with striking green hair, approached them with fervor. "Would you care for a premium baleful snout smoke kettle, or perhaps some baleful inkstones for your arrays?" The salesman crooned eagerly. Han Li, paying him no mind, kept his gaze steady, while Mo Guang's eyes were drawn to a massive black tree in the distance. Shi Chuankong, however, was already inspecting the wares with a keen eye. He scoffed, tossing the kettle back into the crate. "Your offerings are fit for the lowly, not for us. Do you not see our station?" he chided, a hint of scorn in his voice. The green-haired salesman, unfazed, persisted. "These items may not be treasures, but they are indispensable to those who know their worth." Shi Chuankong, unamused, countered, "How much for the inkstones?" The transaction began, the salesman desperately trying to keep pace with Shi Chuankong's calculations. As they bartered, the green-haired being's eyes sparkled when Shi Chuankong mentioned purchasing 49, though he only had 35. Shi Chuankong, ever the tactician, played the salesman's desires like a harp. "I'll take them all, but throw in that walnut for my trouble," he added, his smile sharp as a blade. The green-haired merchant, recognizing the worth of the walnut, eagerly agreed. "This is no ordinary stone. It's the core of a baleful bone demon, though it's been scorched. Still, its value is undeniable." His voice quivered with excitement, unaware of the treasures his hands had just exchanged. Shi Chuankong grinned slyly. "A baleful bone demon core? Not bad at all." Han Li, ever the observer, asked, "What exactly is a baleful bone demon?" With a smug look, Shi Chuankong answered, "It's a rare treasure in the Immortal Realm. The core is invaluable in the Devil Realm, though this one has been marred by fire. Still, it should fetch a high price once we return." Before they could delve deeper, Mo Guang's voice interrupted, his eyes wide with realization. "So this is the inverted street." The trio turned their gaze toward the center of the plaza, where a colossal black tree loomed. From its twisted branches, buildings hung like strange fruits, each at a bizarre angle. The sight was otherworldly, as though gravity itself had been undone. Upon reaching the base of the tree, they found a vast entrance marked Inverted Street. Inside, spiral staircases wound upward, leading to shops hanging from the branches. A chaotic yet efficient hustle thrived in the air, with travelers either climbing the stairs or soaring through the air on their way to the higher branches. The trio ascended the staircase, reaching the top where the branches grew thin and sparse, with tiny bell-like shops hanging from them. In one such shop, a shopkeeper with ashen skin lay drowsily before a row of shelves, holding a baleful snout smoke kettle. He lazily greeted them, though his voice betrayed an air of practiced indifference. "You're from the Dark Mulberry tribe, aren't you?" Shi Chuankong asked with a smile, sensing something unusual about the shopkeeper's tribe. Why set up shop in Ashura City? Han Li, always one to stay informed, knew that the Dark Mulberry tribe was an anomaly here, their domain lying far from the infernal region. A rare and valuable encounter indeed. The shopkeeper was taken aback, his eyes narrowing as he regarded the visitor. "Ah, a discerning eye indeed, esteemed one. I hail from the Dark Mulberry tribe, though my ties to it are long severed." Shi Chuankong's lips curled into a knowing smile. "Ah, what a pleasure," he replied. "Now, if you would, we seek a map of Asura City. Do you possess such a thing?" The shopkeeper's brow furrowed slightly, his gaze flicking towards the outside world before he spoke in a lowered tone. "Such an item is forbidden, sold only by certain hands, and not those of outsiders." Shi Chuankong chuckled softly, his voice carrying an air of calm confidence. "Who would know? A transaction between us, money exchanged for the map, discreet and swift." The shopkeeper hesitated, his mouth opening and closing as if testing the wind. Shi Chuankong, unhurried, began perusing the items in the shop. Han Li stood silent, his sharp mind on the matter, while Mo Guang, indifferent to the shop's wares, kept watch from the doorway. A long silence lingered before the shopkeeper, forced to break the stalemate, spoke reluctantly. "I do have what you seek, but this is a dangerous affair. The price, it will be high." Shi Chuankong's smile never wavered. "Speak your price, shopkeeper." 50 gray crystals, the shopkeeper declared, his voice firm but a hint of unease betrayed him. Shi Chuankong's eyes sparkled. "A rare item, to be sure, but given its scarcity, I reckon few seek such a map. I offer you 10. The shopkeeper recoiled, his expression souring. "Too steep a discount. This map is no mere replica. It's old, but it is genuine. No counterfeit." Han Li's voice cut through the tension. "How can you be certain of its authenticity?" "The restrictions on the 9 areas of Asura City came into place 2,000 or 3,000 years ago," the shopkeeper explained. "Before that, only the soul cleansing area was off limits. This map is one of the few remaining from that era, untainted by forgeries." "And this soul cleansing area, what makes it so special?" Han Li asked, his curiosity piqued. "The infernal region's sacred ground lies there, a place shrouded in mystery, where even the lowest of infernal beings are forbidden," the shopkeeper responded, his voice carrying an air of reverence. Shi Chuankong considered the answer. "In that case, I shall raise my offer to 15 gray crystals." 40, the shopkeeper countered, his expression firm. Unfazed, Shi Chuankong continued the dance of negotiation until the price settled at 28 gray crystals. The shopkeeper reluctantly handed over a black stone plate, but Shi Chuankong made no move to pay. With a wry smile, Han Li took the gray crystals and handed them over. The transaction complete, Mo Guang verified the map within the plate, confirming its authenticity. As the 3 of them exited the shop, Han Li voiced a thought. "Why such a fuss over a handful of gray crystals? We shall not need them when we return to the Immortal Realm." Shi Chuankong's smile widened. "It's not about the crystals, fellow Taoist Li. It's about the art of negotiation." Before Han Li could reply, Mo Guang's voice rang in his mind. "The soul cleansing area is marked as a blank on the map, shrouded in secrecy. We must first pass through the 100 treasure area and the Rasham area. Both are guarded by unknown restrictions." Han Li's eyes glinted. "Then let us head for the 100 treasure area first." The sound of a distant gong reverberated through the city, followed by 4 massive pillars of white light rising into the sky, each one thick as a mountain. The crowd halted in awe, their attention drawn to the spectacle. Shi Chuankong raised his head. "The 3-region conference has begun," Han Li nodded. "Excellent. With the city's focus on the conference, we can depart unnoticed." The trio set off once more, their goal now clear. The plaza in the Fallen Lake area stretched before them, vast and shrouded in mist. The white bricks beneath their feet exuded a strange aura, their ethereal mist only rising a foot off the ground. Guards clad in gray armor surrounded the plaza. while 100 stone pillars marked the source of the 4 immense pillars of white light. As the light surged with power, the air hummed with the tension of the moment. Thunder rumbled above, and the baleful chi swirled in the heavens. A booming sound echoed through the sky, and a massive white stone platform appeared, descending slowly to the ground. On the platform stood a large circular table, surrounded by 100 chairs, a setting for the grand conference. The crowd murmured in excitement, their whispers spreading like wildfire. From the heavens, a streak of black light descended, revealing a man in azure armor, Yin Chengquan, regional monarch of Asura City. His mere presence bent the air around him, and all who beheld him could not help but kneel in respect. His voice rang clear across the plaza. Welcome to the Three-Region Conference. I trust you all know the purpose of this gathering. Let all witness the momentous occasion. As the last words left his lips, 3 figures in black robes appeared on the platform. They were the envoys of the Black Rope region, their black skin a testament to their homeland's climate. Among them stood the imposing Xiao Bai, deputy regional monarch of the Black Rope region, and 2 other formidable cultivators. The crowd buzzed with whispers. The rumors are true. Their skin is black. Yin Chengquan's cold smile remained unmoved as he addressed them. You honor me, Deputy Regional Monarch Xiao. Asura City is privileged to host such an event. But before the conversation could continue, another trio appeared. One was a white-haired youth with melancholy eyes, his presence commanding attention. Behind him, 2 figures stood, a towering man in black armor and a beautiful woman in white. Han Li would recognize one of them as Worm 3, her transformation no less striking. As the trio of Huang Fuyu, Palace Master Wu Yang, and the mysterious woman clad in white emerged, whispers spread like wildfire through the crowd. Those are figures from the reincarnation region, they muttered, eyes widening at the mention of Huang Fuyu. Once the southern brocade regional monarch, now a Dao ancestor. His sorrowful past, entwined with the death of his beloved palace master Xin Yu during a clash with the heavenly court, had catalyzed his meteoric rise in power. His love, his loss, all led him to the reincarnation region. The surrounding onlookers marveled, particularly the women who admired his majestic presence. Yin Chengquan nodded solemnly to the trio, assuring them, "Rest assured, Palace Master Huang, you have my word." As the air hummed with energy, streaks of light cut through the sky, heralding the arrival of the powerful regional masters. Mo Zan, Shi Rensong, Yue Yang, and many others, each carrying the weight of their domains. The air crackled with the aura of golden immortals and higher, signaling the approach of those whose strength was beyond ordinary comprehension. Soon, the Black Teeth regional monarch, accompanied by monarchs Miao Gao and Lu Hong, arrived, and Yin Chengquan motioned for all to sit. The gathering was set, and with a ringing of a giant gong, the 3-region conference commenced. Far away from the bustling city, Han Li and his companions concealed their presence as they ventured toward the 100 treasure area. The streets grew quieter, the infernal servants fewer. But danger was still present. The air was thick with tension as they encountered patrols of infernal servants clad in black armor, emanating baleful chi, led by a Grand Ascension cultivator. Despite their formidable presence, the trio managed to remain unseen. Approaching the towering black wall separating the areas, they noted the strange runes that adorned it, the mysterious gray mist surrounding it. The city gates, guarded by armored giants, loomed before them. Han Li, Shi Chuankong, and Mo Guang hid, using their spatial techniques to blend into the environment, their eyes locked on the imposing structures ahead. They're copper spine beings, Shi Chuankong noted quietly, the giants at the gates a formidable force. The real threat, however, lay within the palace. A great encompassment stage infernal being resided there. We'll have to tread carefully, Han Li said, his brows furrowing in concern. I can breach the city wall easily, but avoiding the infernal's notice will be tricky, Shi Chuankong warned. Mo Guang, ever confident, smiled. Leave that to me. I'll handle the concealment. Han Li, though skeptical, trusted Mo Guang. All right, let's proceed. With silent steps, they moved eastward, slipping past more patrols. But as they traveled, Han Li's sharp senses detected a change. Stop, he murmured through voice transmission. Someone's onto us. Suddenly, the space warped, and 2 familiar figures emerged, Fox 3 and Bailey Yan. Fox 3, ever the carefree spirit, explained their presence with a smile, but his tone was tinged with something deeper. Bailey Yan, ever the calm one, recounted his journey from the San Miao tribe, his tale entwined with Fox 3's, one of survival, misadventure, and unexpected alliances. Long time no see, Brother Shi, fellow Taoist Li. Fox 3 grinned. This is fellow Taoist Bailey Yan from our reincarnation palace. Han Li eyed the new arrivals but nodded in acknowledgement. We're heading toward the baleful cleansing pond. Perfect, Fox 3 beamed. Our combined strength should make this journey easier. The trio, now joined by their comrades, set off once more, journeying eastward. 100 kilometers later, Mo Guang suggested they halt. Ahead lies another watchtower, and we must avoid it. They crept closer to the city walls, their movements light and cautious, like shadows among shadows. These city walls have fortification spells, Shi Chuankong muttered. We must approach carefully. Fox 3 smiled, holding up a crystal ball. Leave the rest to me. Fox 3, with a whisper of mystic words, summoned a radiant veil of rainbow light, encasing the group within its shimmering glow. In the blink of an eye, Han Li and his companions vanished, their presence wiped from the very fabric of reality. Is this but an illusion, fellow Taoist Fox 3? Han Li inquired, his voice steady, though curiosity stirred within. Fox 3 nodded, his tone unwavering. Indeed, it is. The light shields us from prying senses. Once disturbed, we will be exposed. Time presses, so we must move swiftly. With that, the group proceeded stealthily to the foot of the obsidian city wall. They passed unnoticed, even as the armored infernal servants stood motionless, their eyes locked on distant horizons. Are we close? Fox 3 asked, his voice carrying a trace of urgency. Not yet, Shi Chuankong answered, his hands already at work, summoning array tools and a dark artifact known as the Baleful Inkstone. With precise motions, he laid them in intricate patterns upon the ground. Han Li's eyes widened slightly. You can use those for arrays? I thought they were meant for the Demon Core, he remarked, surprise evident in his gaze. Shi Chuankong chuckled softly. When dealing with spatial arrays, native materials are key. We have fellow Taoist Mo Guang, and I will teach him how to activate the array. His hands never ceased their movements. Arranging the components with expert care, Han Li watched closely, though he could make little sense of the complex array taking form. Its design similar to, yet distinctly different from, a teleportation array. Fox 3's impatience was palpable. Brother Shi, the shadow illusion crystal's power wanes. With a final placement of an array plate, Shi Chuankong wiped the sweat from his brow, standing with a satisfied grunt. It is done. Stand within the array, everyone. The array was small, barely large enough to accommodate all 5 of them. As instructed, Mo Guang carefully absorbed the activation method and nodded. Not difficult to activate. Keep your auras restrained. I will cloak the array's fluctuations. With a flick of his finger, baleful chi spiraled outward, wrapping the group in a suffocating mist of darkness. Mo Guang chanted an incantation, and the array came to life, its spatial energy contained within the black fog. Now! Mo Guang declared, and as his words left his lips, Fox 3's illusion shattered. In an instant, they vanished, leaving behind only the faintest stir in the air. One infernal servant, sensing a disturbance, looked toward the foot of the wall, where dust billowed in the wind. His spiritual sense swept over the area but found nothing amiss. He shrugged, resuming his watch over the distant horizon. Emerging on a narrow brick path, Han Li and his companions crept deeper into the city. Careful not to draw attention, the 100 treasure area was eerily silent, the streets lined with low buildings, save for towering fortress-like pagodas where more infernal servants kept watch. Patrol groups moved through the streets, some led by true immortals. The security here is tight, Shi Chuankong observed. We must tread carefully. Mo Guang glanced at the map, frowning. It's inaccurate. There are watchtowers that don't appear here. No surprise there, Han Li replied. This map is from before Asura City's restrictions took hold. We should still be fine as long as we follow the general layout. Mo Guang studied the map further. 3 routes lead to the Rasham area's border. 2 are to the city gates, the 3rd to a turret in the northwest. Han Li nodded. We'll take the turret. The city gates will likely have a great encompassment cultivator stationed there. Without dissent, they continued their journey, slipping past watchtowers and patrols with utmost caution. 2 hours passed, and they reached the city's center, where they took shelter behind a tall building. Han Li's brow furrowed as a bone-chilling sensation crept into the air, and frost spread over the ground. Around them, the architecture shifted. The buildings now vast black fortresses stretching beyond sight. Giant chimneys belched thick smoke into the sky, giving the area the grim visage of a factory. The patrols here were more frequent, and streaks of light occasionally darted across the sky, scanning the ground below. Fox 3's eyes gleamed. These fortresses, something important is concealed within? Perhaps a secret of the infernal tribe? Shi Chuankong's expression darkened. Focus. Our mission is to find the baleful cleansing pond. Don't stir up trouble, Fox 3. I understand, Fox 3 replied with a smirk, though his mischievous nature remained unmistakable. Han Li cast a glance between the two, then shifted his attention to the dark fortresses, releasing a wisp of spiritual sense toward them. It met an invisible barrier within the walls, which repelled his probing thoughts. Intrigued, he drew back, only to hear Shi Qinghao's voice in his mind. Want to know what lies within? Han Li's interest piqued. Can you reveal it? It's the infernal great concealment restriction, Shi Qinghao's voice responded. A secret of the infernal tribe, but not too difficult to bypass. I'll send you the method. Han Li's brows knitted as he considered the offer. Why show me this? Silence met his query, and Han Li's gaze darkened. With a deep breath, he once again directed his spiritual sense toward the fortress walls. This time, armed with the method from Shi Qinghao, his spiritual sense slipped past the barrier with ease. What he saw inside took him by surprise. A vast basin, 200 feet in diameter, filled with bubbling gray liquid. 4 black cages were submerged within, housing 2 Gray Realm beasts and 2 Gray Realm beings, their bodies twisted and lifeless. The beasts howled in torment, but the Gray Realm beings were eerily still, their once vibrant eyes now dull and wooden. Han Li's spiritual sense moved quickly to the next fortress, where a massive furnace blazed beneath an unholy gray flame, chilling rather than warming. Inside, several Gray Realm beings and beasts writhed as their bodies grotesquely swelled, their skin etched with strange patterns. Moving swiftly, Han Li's mind absorbed the grotesque scenes unfolding within the numerous fortresses. The Gray Realm beings underwent horrific transformations, subjected to boiling, burning, and poison. Each facility had its own method of refinement, but the outcome was the same. Monstrous, soulless creatures bound in iron cages, no more than puppets for the infernal tribe's dark designs. Han Li's heart stirred as he beheld the fortresses before him, each an unassuming bastion hiding a sinister secret. Beneath their grim exteriors, these fortresses were nothing more than unholy sanctuaries for the infernal tribe's vile puppet refinement. The process, grotesque in its cruelty, was conducted in such secrecy that only the most callous of beings could carry it out. The infernal tribe, having mastered this abhorrent art, now forged these dark puppets in relentless numbers, imbuing them with power as if assembling an army of shadows. This made their rule over the infernal region both feared and unchallenged, for these puppets were not mere creatures, but instruments of terror, their minds shackled to the will of their masters. Han Li's gaze flickered as he withdrew his spiritual sense, traveling through the air like a wisp of smoke to the next fortress. This one was a prison, and not of the conventional sort. Thousands of beings, both beast and Gray Realm cultivator, were confined in cramped cells, forced to live on all fours, their eyes empty, their souls stripped away. These were the raw materials for the refinement process, some powerful enough to reach the true immortal or golden immortal stages, yet reduced to mere cattle for the dark rituals. The prison itself was a twisted design, its walls crafted to keep even the most powerful beings from escaping. Having seen enough, Han Li pulled back his spiritual sense, returning to the safety of the group. The next leg of their journey was far more straightforward. They approached the towering city wall, and there it was, the massive turret that had been marked on their map, cloaked in a glowing black restriction, guarded by countless infernal servants. The air was thick with tension, but the worst was behind them. Their goal was now within reach, and all that stood between them and success was breaching the wall. Fellow Taoist Shi, we shall rely on you once more. Han Li spoke, his voice steady. Leave it to me. Shi Chuankong replied with an assuring nod, turning to Fox 3. Brother Fox, we'll need your assistance to get close. Without a word, Fox 3 produced another of the crystalline spheres, a rainbow light enveloping them in a flash. They appeared before the city wall, hidden from prying eyes. The group had barely settled when Shi Chuankong began setting up the teleportation array. His movements fluid and practiced. A wave of his sleeve released a silver streak of light, while Mo Guang, ever the shadow, conjured a mist of baleful qi to cloak their efforts. Yet, when the array flickered to life, it failed. The group stood motionless, confusion gripping their hearts. The teleportation array did not work as planned. Shi Chuankong, his face pale, stared grimly at the city wall, his mind racing. "Brother Shi, what's wrong?" Fox 3 asked, a note of concern in his voice. "We need to return." Shi Chuankong murmured, sweeping his array tools back into his sleeve. The group hastened to retreat to their hiding place. Once concealed, Bailian's voice broke the silence. "What happened? Why did the teleportation fail? Could it be a spatial restriction?" Han Li guessed, his eyes narrowing. Shi Chuankong's eyes flickered with a rare seriousness. "Indeed, my teleportation technique was blocked by a spatial restriction woven into the city wall. That's why it failed." The revelation hung heavy in the air. The 100 treasure area, a place filled with layers upon layers of deadly restrictions, was more treacherous than they had imagined. Only Shi Chuankong's spatial technique could bypass them. And now even that had been foiled. "Are we to give up after coming so far?" Bai Lian asked, frustration creeping into his voice. "No," Shi Chuankong said firmly. "We only need to deactivate the spatial restriction." "Deactivate it?" Bai Lian's brows furrowed. "Do you know where the core of the restriction lies?" "I believe I have an idea," Shi Chuankong replied. "The core of the array must be near the turret or the gates themselves." Fox 3's eyes gleamed. "Then let's split up. We'll search the turret and the city gates. You, fellow Taoist Shi, and you, fellow Taoist Li, will take the turret. Mo Guang and I will investigate the gates." Mo Guang, with his shadowy skills, nodded in agreement, but he issued a word of caution. "If you encounter a great encompassment cultivator at the city gates, proceed with utmost care." Shi Chuankong smiled confidently. "Fear not, I've made preparations." With a flick of his wrist, Shi Chuankong summoned a jade plate, handing it to Mo Guang. "This teleportation array plate will allow us to meet once we find the core." "The vast Origin House is truly overflowing with resources," Mo Guang remarked with a smile, accepting the jade plate. But Han Li's voice cut through the camaraderie, a thought gnawing at him. "Even if we locate the core, destroying it will surely attract attention. We may risk encountering a great encompassment cultivator." The group's expressions darkened at the thought, but Shi Chuankong remained unfazed. "I have a way to handle it. Finding the core is the first step." Han Li shot Shi Chuankong a curious look, but said nothing. "Then we leave it in your capable hands," Han Li said at last. They parted ways, the trio heading toward the city gates, where an oppressive silence lay. The towering palace loomed above the gates, flanked by turrets crawling with infernal servants. Han Li's heart quickened at the thought of sneaking into such a fortress, knowing a great encompassment cultivator could be lurking within. Fox 3 voiced his concerns. "Brother Shi, are you certain you have a way to evade a great encompassment cultivator's detection?" Shi Chuankong's smile remained serene. "I am confident." With that, Shi Chuankong revealed 3 white talismans. Their complex, dark designs unreadable to Han Li's spiritual sense. These concealment talismans were crafted by a great encompassment cultivator of the vast Origin House. As long as we're not directly scrutinized by a cultivator of that rank, they will hide our presence. Both Han Li and Fox 3 stared in awe at the talismans, recognizing their worth. "Fellow Taoist Shi, these talismans are priceless. What would you have in exchange for them?" Han Li asked. "There's no need," Shi Chuankong replied with a light laugh. "If it weren't for you, I'd be dead in the Gray Realm. These talismans are nothing." Fox 3, ever the opportunist, grabbed his talisman without hesitation. "No need for thanks. Fellow Taoist Li, I've known Shi Chuankong far too long to worry about such things." Han Li couldn't help but smile. "In that case, I accept with gratitude, fellow Taoist Shi." And so, with talismans in hand, the group steeled themselves for what lay ahead, their mission more perilous than ever.